Hey everyone, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. I'm actually packing the truck up to head to Hot Springs, North Carolina. I hope that I'm going to see some of you at the upcoming Teardrop Rally. But as I was packing, I actually realized that I've never featured this Newair 25-quart refrigerator on the channel before. This is my road trip companion. I've had it for about a year, so I'm really excited to talk about this today, and then I'll get back to packing. So Newair has been around for a while. They feature some commercial refrigeration equipment. They make ice makers. I featured their 48-quart refrigerator freezer combo on the channel before. That was less money than the competition, really high quality, and everyone really liked that. Now there's something about this refrigerator that differentiates it from the other ones on the market. So I'm gonna spend most of my time talking about that feature because I know some people are gonna find that cool. This refrigerator runs on tool batteries. Now it can run on AC and it can run on DC as well, but it has the ability to accept one of these tool batteries that many of us have a bunch of at home. There's an adapter, it's about $20, and it can run on all the major brands. It can run on Bosch, Makita, Milwaukee, DeWalt, and if you have a tool set at home that it doesn't cover, on Amazon, you can find adapters that convert anything to DeWalt, and you'll be able to pop this in and run the fridge on a tool battery. Now, this is, an add-on feature that I really like, but it's gonna make the difference as to whether this is the right buy for you or not. If you don't, after watching this video, see any value in running on these, then I would refer you back to the Bouge RV23. That's a great fridge and it does cost less money than this one. So we'll circle back to some of the basics on this fridge in a moment, but I do want to spend some time at the head of the video on this distinguishing feature here. Now, when would you use one of these? Well, for me, when I'm driving down the road on a road trip, I keep this plugged into my vehicle. The engine's alternator will run this thing, that's great. But when I stop, whether I'm stopping someplace to eat or I'm stopping to go for a hike or something like that, I don't have to have a power station or some other source in the back seat of my truck. It's also not going to kill my truck battery. So these batteries are very handy for that. Now I will do some overnights where I actually spend the night on the road, and this will keep this refrigerator running throughout the night. So in the morning I can pop it out, start the car, plug in the car charger, and I'm off to the races. They call this the job site fridge, and that makes sense. I will bring this to a job site. I pre-chill it at home, but when I get there, I throw a battery in. It keeps my lunch and my drinks cold, and at lunch, I'll usually swap in a new battery depending on the size that I'm using. So this feature and the ability to save you a bunch of money if you were gonna buy a refrigerator that takes, an add-on battery on the side, this is the difference as to whether I recommend this to you or not. And from there, then we can go back and cover some of the features, including runtime. So let's go ahead and put the size and the weight of this refrigerator, the dimensions on the screen in case you need to fit this into a particular spot. But I'm able to pick this thing up. It's a very modest sized refrigerator. It's got a nice latch here with a gasket. It locks itself closed unless you're using the handle here. It's got a touch screen. There's a couple cup holders on top. It has wheels and a little handle here to pull it along. It does have a light inside, so if you're using this at night, it'll illuminate the food that you're looking to see. It's a really, overall, I'm happy with the build quality. But I do have a couple concerns here, and I don't mind pointing those out as well. If you go with one of the really nice versions, the ARBs, the Dometics, the Trumas, you're going to expect that the thing is built like a tank. And although this is a really nice case, the handle pairs in comparison to the larger Newair that I had. That handle was really rugged. And even though this latch is nice, for the way that most of us use these, a couple magnets would have been great. Anything mechanical, I'm determined to break eventually. So something like a magnet makes a nice clasp without having to use a plastic locking mechanism. but the wheels aren't bad, and the thing does have decent insulation. I've been in situations where I had the food cold, let the battery die, and it holds its temperature for a long time, especially if you throw like a frozen water bottle in there. It does have what I would consider to be a better insulation value than like a standard Coleman cooler. So the big question that everyone is going to want to know, and it's a really difficult question to answer, is how long does this run? How many watts does it draw? How many watt hours does it draw over a period of time? How long will my Milwaukee 18-volt tool battery last? Those are difficult questions to answer. This unit, when I put it inside in a 70-degree room in a controlled setting, will use between 150 and 250 watt hours in a day. That's a pretty low number, but it's a pretty small fridge. Now, I pre-chill it, I fill it nice and evenly with food to do that testing, and I test it with my meters and my portable power stations. The moment you bring this thing out and sit it in the sun and let it bake all day, those numbers can climb up to 300 or 325 watt hours. I can't tell you the temperature and the solar conditions that you're using this in. If you leave it baking in the back of the car, those numbers are gonna go up. But I have seen the numbers go down as low as 125 watt hours in a day. That comes from filling it, throwing one ice bottle in there, and not opening and closing it a million times. Now, if you want to know the capacity of your tool batteries so that you can figure out how long your tool batteries are going to last on this, I'll show you the easy way to figure that out. So batteries come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're not all equal. All of these different types of batteries fit in the DeWalt adapter. You can snap this inside the box, and then you snap the battery into this. Even this off-brand one here is designed to fit in. You could save a little bit of money doing this. But if you want to calculate their capacity, it's pretty easy. Watt hours are simply amp hours times the voltage. So this is a 20 volt battery and it's 6 amp hours. So that's 120 watt hours. This one is 4, so it's 80 watt hours. If you are trying to be exact, I always chop a little bit off the top because these companies always fib a little bit about the true capacity. If you really care, out of all the tool batteries that I've tested, the Milwaukee ones tend to be the most accurate. And for DeWalt, if you multiply the amp hours by 18 instead of 20, it actually comes out to a more accurate number. Now remember, this fridge is going to consume a certain amount of watt hours in a day. Let's say we take 200 watt hours a day for normal conditions. Maybe we climb up to 300 if it's in a hot car or something like that, or even lower than that if you're camping in the fall or you have the air conditioning on in your car. So if you're looking at 200 watt hours and I take this 6 amp hour battery, that's going to get me over a half a day. So throwing this into the cooler is going to allow it to run overnight. So let's say I'm on a road trip, I pull into a Cracker Barrel or a campground or something that doesn't have electricity, and I throw one of these in the fridge that's in the back of my car. Instead of killing my truck battery, this is going to run until the morning, keep my food cold. I can pop it out, plug it in the morning. It's very, very handy. Now, they make 9 amp hour batteries. It depends what you have. When I'm using these 4 amp hour batteries, if I'm on the job site, I usually swap it out at lunch. The battery won't be completely dead, but it's just peace of mind. It doesn't cost me nothing when I go in there to eat my lunch to throw another battery in for the second half of the day. Again, this has a really good LG compressor, a name brand compressor. It's quiet, it's efficient, it's a small cooler, you can get a lot done. So I just threw this video together today. I do want to get back to packing my truck. So if you work in the trades or you're working out at the job site, a carpenter, electrician or something, or you like taking road trips, this is the fridge for you. At this upcoming rally, we have a group site that there'll be a barbecue at. Instead of lugging a power station with me, I can bring some food and some drinks right over to the communal campsite with one of these batteries in there and keep the food cold for the night. I'll put the links in the description. I'll throw some other widgets in there for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.